Welcome to the first episode of A Star in a Reasonably Priced Aurora MR. This is associated with the Top Hanger, which you can watch on my main YouTube. This is a series where I bring people, content creators, devs maybe, to the show. We talk about Star Citizen, their experiences in the game, what they think about the game, and then we jump into the game and do a cold lab in the Aurora MR, which is very reasonably priced. That's the show. Now, this is a separate channel from my Lens Nation's usual YouTube channel because that is just for Machinima now, and this is for Aurora MR episodes or any other live stream that we do. One episode every fortnight. That's the plan. All right, let's meet our first guest. He's on his deathbed right now, but I dragged him out. And I was able to do that because he's my mate, and I can really push him around. I can tell him, where is your video? When are you releasing your video? You need to do a video about this. We became great friends. One thing though, I really respected his content for a very, very long time. I enjoyed what he did. I never knew that I will become such a good friend with him, and I find that very honoring and awesome about this whole thing. And today, I'm very happy to bring my friend to this show. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Space Coder! That's how you roll, citizens, and good morning. Welcome, Space Coder. How are you feeling?
As you can see, this is not my deathbed, this is my death studio currently. I am on a lot of paracetamol because Lens dragged me out of bed to do this, and because I promised him I would do this. And of course we're good friends. I'm generally a very friendly guy.
He's very friendly. Yeah, I mean, look at him. Doesn't he look like a very gentleman, a very gentle pirate? I like what you've done with your beard.
I think it's too short. I've lost the wizard effect, so it needs to grow a little bit. And the thing you've been all waiting for. Hello, little
Yes, cat. Yeah, I was gonna say on popular demand. Can we please have the cat?
Yes, there you go. Here's the cat. So she's my meeting buddy and my stream buddy.
And I like the fact that your t-shirt that you're wearing matches your new logo color. That's coincidental, or did you plan on it?
Partially because I've been too sick to do laundry, so this is the only clean shirt in my apartment currently.
Oh, too much information.
And it just happened to be the correct-ish shade of blue.
That t-shirt is the Crusader blue, kind of. Now, we got the cat, and we have the chat, but before we move forward, I have to talk about the sponsor of this video. Yes, dear citizens, even though this is the first episode, I do have a sponsor. So I'm gonna play a sponsor video. Here you go. The sponsor for today's live stream, well, my very first stream, is the place I really like to visit myself. Lorville, New Deal. I used to be very scared of buying ships. Well, take Arcop for instance. Whenever I would go there, I would just keep asking myself, do I fit in here? Will the NPCs judge me? Is it the right place for a person like me? And the Cousins Crows is completely on the other side of this spectrum. I mean, who even shops there? Whenever I would go to Cousins Crows, I would just end up judging the NPCs. It is such a sad affair. But Lorville New Deal is perfect for buying ships. It's not too cozy, it's not too industrial, it's just the right mix, and the NPCs are always stuck in their animations. Now I go to New Deal and shop with confidence. They have all kind of ships there. Small, big, medium big, small big, bigger big, other kind of big ships. And their showroom actually has the whole hammerhead that you can walk into and get lost in. For $10, they will even let you jump off the docking port. That's quality service. So if you're thinking of buying a ship, use my promo code Who's Lens Nation, and not only you won't get any discount, they will probably throw you out of the showroom. So please go ahead to Lorville and make use of this promotion and use my promo code, which probably doesn't even work. Be warned though, you might not actually even get the ship the money you pay for. That's amazing. So thanks once again to Lorville New Deal for sponsoring my first call-in stream. What can I say, guys? Thanks to New Deal that this episode is possible. Thank you for all the support the New Deal has given me, all the times they've thrown me out, for all the non-discounts that they've given me, and the way they take care of my friends. The next time Ruben goes there, please throw him extra 50 meters out. I will appreciate that very, very much. What did you think of my sponsor space?
I mean, for first episode and already sponsored, I've been doing this content creator thing for years and nothing, and you are set first episode. I am very jealous.
What can I say? I just so much quality content that I create, and this is my promise to you all that we will have a new sponsor for this series every single episode. A brand new sponsor. I will never repeat my sponsors. Even though New Deal wants to sponsor the next 10 episodes, I'm not going to take it. Okay, let's go into the show proper. Welcome, Space. So let's start our conversation. So, mate, how long have you been playing Star Citizen?
So that's a tough question, but I think I've been around since 2016 or 17, which is, I cannot do the math on what is that in
That's
Star Citizen.
Almost 9 years. 9 years? If 2016.
And I've been a content creator in various shapes or forms for 8 of those years.
Oh, you started very early. How did you find Star Citizen? What was your discovery? What is your discovery journey?
I think I saw a video way back, but I didn't have a computer that could run it. And then when I went to college, I sort of forgot that Star Citizen exists. And then I went to college, and I finally got a computer that could run it, and I saw an ad, I think. And I was like, oh, I can run this now.
Okay.
And I just happened to be sitting in a very boring lecture about law, which I don't know why they taught us law while studying computer science. I don't know.
That's weird.
But
that is really
but it was very boring. And I'm like, well, university Wi-Fi is pretty solid, and I have my credit card on me. Might as well buy Star Citizen. So I did, and I bought an Aurora, and I downloaded it right there, and I turned on the game, and my laptop tried to take off from my desk, and everybody kind of looked at me weird. So I was like, maybe I will play when I get back to the apartment.
I'm amazed that Star Citizen's size was so small that you could download it on the university Wi-Fi, and in a laptop.
Well, back then it was just Porto, Grimhex, and Levski. And I actually think I started in version 263, so we didn't even have planetary outposts.
Mm-hmm.
It was literally just the stations and Arena Commander. I remember doing a ton of racing in Arena Commander with my Aurora to get the the REC, to get the Saber, because I was like, oh, the Saber, that is such a cool ship. I need to have this. I need to have this in my hangar right now. And then I found out oh, this costs $300. That is about $300 more than I can afford currently. So
talking about what Arkin's written there. Well, Levski will come back. Levski's coming back
in Nyx.
It's coming back in Nyx, yeah.
With 1.0, but we will see, I guess, in which order they do the other star systems. Because I have heard people say, oh, Terra is next. But I actually think Nyx might be next, because they seem to have
this December
a lot of assets set up for it. Yeah,
this December, definitely. So you started YouTube in 2017 or 2018?
I think 2018, because I did pretty much just photography on Instagram for about a year, and then I was like, well, maybe I'm gonna try my hand at videos. So I tried machinimas with just myself. But that
you're the OG. You're the OG of machinima.
Well, when you look at COSAL, for example, if I look at the Discord, by playtime and by content creator experience, I'm one of the most senior members in there. I think the only one who has time over me is Mr. Hasgaha.
Oh, Hasgaha also has been there for such a long time. Yeah. I was 2 days ago, I was on Reddit, And what was I looking for? I was looking for how to do higher resolutions. Like I have a 4K monitor, but I want to take a 6K shot. And I saw a post by Hasgaha, which was posted 3 years ago. And it's a massive post. Massive post. He goes into so much detail. I was like, oh man, Hasgaha has been there. Like that is 3 years ago, but he has been part of the community for such a long time. Imagine, you know what? Imagine how many ships he has won from CIG. don't look at his seniority in the way, oh, he's part of the community. No, think about this. How many competitions he has won, right? This guy is very important for Star Citizen.
Well, if we looked at it that way, then I would be way at the bottom of the list. I only won once. And it wasn't even a screenshot contest.
When did you win and what contest was it?
It was the online CitizenCon when they had sort of community ads. I did one for the Cosmonaut magazine because I was writing and taking photos for them at the time. And I won, I think it was a Nova tank.
Oh wow.
I think it was a Nova. Yeah.
And I don't think you ever reused it.
No, that Nova tank became a 400i very quickly.
Yeah.
And that 400i became a Galaxy last CitizenCon.
You told me about that. I was there when you did that. Yeah, I remember that. Yep. But yeah, you've been there. So what moved you to start creating content? How did that journey start for you?
Well, so like I said, I started with like machinimas, like little cinematics, and that was fun. But then at some point, I realized that you know, I have things to say about this game, and as I sort of started working professionally as a software developer, I started having these epiphanies, let's call them, about development and things I was seeing with Star Citizen. And just generally learning critical thinking and analyzing things you're looking at. So I made a advanced camera tutorial way back, and I still have that video. And it's actually very popular. It still gets a lot of views every year.
I've seen it, yeah.
And then I sort of started doing more and more and more, and it kind of became a regular thing at that point. And that's kind of how we got where we are. I don't have much to show for it for like 5 years of YouTube content, but it's been fun, and I do it for fun. I do it because I enjoy.
But your content is
now we have
good. First time I ever saw you was on Space Tomato. You were a guest on Space Tomato, and you were talking. I told you about this, and you were talking, and I was enjoying the conversation. I was like, oh, I relate with this guy, this angry young man. And I looked you up, and I think I saw 10 to 15 of your videos back to back. It was quite a trip. You have a very different take, and you don't do patch notes and stuff. You don't do the conspiracy theories or whatever the most controversial thing is at the time.
We did a conspiracy theories comedy one last week.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Yeah, was it? What is your favorite? What is your favorite conspiracy theory about Star Citizen?
My favorite, like my own, is that the whole reason we have contested zones, that we have sort of these live events, is because Ubisoft and EA and other game companies fired a whole bunch of developers, and CAG hired all of them. Because that's what happened. Like if you remember, like
doing the layoffs. Yep.
Everybody was doing layoffs, and CAG was like
hiring everyone.
Like me on LinkedIn, CAG was like, every time someone was like, "Oh, I got laid off from Ubisoft," there would be like CAG in comments like, "We got positions open." Literally every time on LinkedIn. So that's how I think we're getting this sort of very MMO style content. Because when Contested Zones were first announced, I was on the captain's day with Paul Shelley right after that announcement was made. And we were talking about how Contested Zones are essentially dark zones from Division. And essentially they are. It's literally an extraction shooter. Yeah. So, but it's not necessarily a bad thing bringing in MMO features into Star Citizen.
Well, as long as we get good influence from those devs, because devs are not inherently bad, it's what the shareholders and the company big wiz make them do things, right? So
absolutely agree. I mean, content is content, and content is good. So I like the direction we're having right now with monthly patches and events. I don't necessarily like the structure of the events, but that's a opinion and gameplay problem, not an event problem. But the more important part of it, instead of the stability, is that they are sort of adding back more of the missions that weren't converted for server meshing with 4.0.
mission
Because
refactor.
if there's a lot of missions disappeared. Yeah.
So how many ships do you have now, like in your inventory?
Oh boy.
It's not a money question.
I
It's just like so when you start a new game with fresh new economy, how many ships do you have, and what is your go-to process?
Let's see. So I have Avenger. I got 2 Gladiuses, a Saber. I have the Galaxy, so a Karak. I have the Zeus. I have the MSR, and I have a C1, and I have
Narsa?
the Heliquad and the Dragonfly.
So
And I think that's like my base of what I have.
So what is your process when the economy resets? So how do you start making money in game?
Oh, I have a voucher too.
Oh yeah, that's solid.
So I usually go for, so like when I'm not sure how the patch is, I will start sort of with like low risk stuff. So when deliveries were in the game, I would do deliveries, because that's a good way
high five.
to.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's a very nice way to, and I actually, my recommendation to new players is like go do delivery missions, because you can do it in any starter ship.
Any ship, yeah.
And you will actually get a decent amount of money after the rebalance. It will sort of take you through all
used to
the
be
major
used to be
gameplay,
like 4,000 alpha UEC.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Now it
But they buffed it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It takes you through like all the base elements, flying, interacting with missions, on the ground operations. And you can actually loot some useful stuff while you're in there, because all the ground outposts, they have lootable boxes, and there's going to be food, drink, multi-tools, fruit and stuff that you can sell for extra money. So I very much recommend that to all new players. Then I usually move to hauling or
cargo.
I will do mining or salvage.
So trade terminal hauling, like pick up corundum or
like
laranite.
Like hauling missions. Like
also the new hauling missions that are in now. Those are really good. Yes. Okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
Out of mining and salvage, which one?
So I've been doing a lot of salvage over the last year. But now with the supply or die event, I dove very deep into mining again. And I am having so much fun. I actually managed to mine enough corundum and copper to complete the small resupply 3 times.
Did you use the Prosy or did you use the mole?
Prospector.
Yeah, okay.
Gets to like 8.5 million credits, so I can buy a mole, because my best friend, she's kind of like a casual Star Citizen bystander. It's like she has an account. She has
that's a very cool term. Casual Star Citizen bystander. That is, I've never heard that before.
She really only plays when I'm like, hey, do you want to go fly? And we, we go mining, or we go do salvage together, or we like, if I happen to have a 2-seater combat ship, we go do bounties. And so I'm trying to like save up for a mole so she can go mining with me, because she really enjoys doing that. So but I'm like 5 million credits short, so chat if you're feeling generous. I am never gonna get there with just mining.
Well, we're starting that conversation in the chat. Can somebody send me $500,000? Whenever I see that in Star Citizen, I always post, can somebody send me 3 alpha UC so that I can buy some crews?
The crews got more expensive. It's now 10 credits.
Oh my, that's me. That's all my doing. The new CEO, and I was like, raise it up.
Yeah, I find that absolutely heretical.
It is what it is. Corporation, baby. You know how much that Dune movie? You know how much that Dune movie cost us to produce, and it tanked on the box office. We need to make that money somehow.
You gotta make an episode too, man. You didn't have me in there. That's
You
my
were not
fault.
there, but you were there in the Nursa Tales. Look what happened to that.
The Nursa Tales were great.
that man, my last, okay, again we're going to the YouTube, only my last two videos have done really well on YouTube. Like they are at 4.5 and 4.7k, and that's exactly why I'm so afraid of uploading an Aurora MR episode, because YouTube is going to be like, what is this guy doing? What is his defined audience? So I'm like, okay, but this is so much. But YouTube is one thing. It's not just the content creation that you do. You are also a very gifted developer. Tell us about Armory.
So, Armory has been around for a lot of years. I think 5 years that the project has existed in some way, shape, or form. Originally, it was just a console application because I was doing photo shoots with Imperial Geographic and ADI, and sometimes I wanted people to like show up in the correct gear, and I was way too lazy to like go to every store and figure it out myself.
Yeah,
I realized like, I can like data mine this from the game. So I made a console application that just like I put in a list of items and it gave me where to buy them. And then I was like, this is clunky. I don't like this. So I learned React because I'm a masochist. And I made the original Armory, which is 2 designs before your design.
Yeah.
And that took off. Like people liked it very much. And then it just kind of like snowballed from there. We added pictures, we added stats, we added loot, then we added loot reports, then you did the redesign, then we redesigned again, then we did the new logo, then we did the new headers, and then someone was like, hey coder, you do the code and stuff, would you be able to like do a, how we have hauling missions, would you be able to do a thing that's gonna like find the best route for multiple contracts? And I'm like, probably, I don't know.
Do that.
Like, and a couple minutes of googling later, I'm like, oh, this is actually pretty easy. And like 2 days of development later, we have the hauler.
Yeah.
For which you also did the logo, and which I haven't been ignoring it. I added more features, but I'm busy rewriting the Armory API from scratch.
I'm just gonna tell you guys that the Armory link is right there in the chat. A lot of people still don't know about this really cool tool for Star Citizen. So have a look around. You can find any item, any weapons, any gear. Where can it be bought? What is the price? What is its specifications? Also, there are images of those items, and if it's not available in stores where you can actually loot it, and you can actually submit your own reports like, yeah, this item is this much.
So you can actually like submit, if you find it in a store, you can say, oh yeah, I found this in this store for this price.
And the hauler app, because you talked about it, the hauler app is basically, if you like cargo hauling and you're like, okay, I want to do these 5 different cargo hauling missions, you can insert all the information to the hauler app, and that app will create the most efficient way of doing it, the most efficient way to do it. Like, you should go here first, do this and do this and do this, and that's the fastest route, and that's the hauler app. Those are very functional tools for Star Citizen. Now let's get into this, right? I know that you tried to get a job at CIG. What's the story there?
I applied 3 times, I think.
3 times?
I got interviewed. Yeah, I think it was 3 times.
Yeah.
I got interviewed twice. Once they turned me down, once I turned them down.
Okay. So I assume the first time they turned you down.
Yeah, the first time they turned me down because they wanted someone with a master's degree.
Okay.
Which is fair.
Wow.
And second time I turned them down because in the 3 years before my bachelor and my master's, I stopped being a C++ developer and I became a C# developer.
Okay.
Then I was always a C# developer. I just kind of dabbled in C++. And this was very shortly after COVID, and they said like, oh, we're actually like not accepting remote positions anymore. Like we want everybody in Manchester or in Wilmslow or in Austin or in LA or in Frankfurt. And I was like, neither of those is a place where I want to live.
Yeah.
So, and I said, either it's going to be remote or it's not. And they said, well, it's not.
Yeah.
And that's fair. No hard feelings. Also, I feel like if I worked at CAG, I would have to stop making Star Citizen content.
Yeah, probably.
Or I would have to like very much like reduce it or change the style, because at that point, I would have like, yes, I'm Evocati, so I can't talk about Evocati stuff. But if I was employed at CAG, that kind of changes the dynamic of it, where I think it would be very problematic for me to, even theory craft.
Yes. Because
it just so happens that very often when I theory craft about things that are going to happen and how things work, I get it right. And I've been told this by CAG developers at CitizenCon that I have predicted a bunch of stuff like 2 or 3 years ahead of them.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But so what happened the third time?
Third time they just denied my application. That was the very, very first time.
Yeah,
that was just like me, like, oh, I'm just gonna like shoot an application. I don't know.
Okay. All right. So we're talking about the development and all that. So what do you do in real life? What is your core specialization now?
So in real life, I am a de facto, because I am the tech lead on my project. I am a senior C#.NET and React developer in the finance sector. I work for one of the largest financial services and asset management companies in the world. It's pretty obscure. We are pretty much in every bank and like asset management company in like the former British Commonwealth, plus a lot of Asia.
I remember now. That's how you explained the server meshing to me, because you said banks use that kind of system.
Yeah. That's about all I can tell you about what I do without breaking my NDA. We mostly work with asset management, asset operations, that kind of stuff. So there's actually weirdly a lot of overlap with a lot of features in Star Citizen, like you mentioned, server meshing. Also, once we get into org features, there is a lot of overlap with that in terms of permissions and assigning roles to people and managing all these things. So weirdly enough, a lot of overlap with what CAG you're doing, especially on the service side of things. Yeah,
but very, very without going into much detail, and briefly, because I know this is a very long conversation, what do you think of the current state of server meshing and what's coming next?
So with the current state, they did it. It works. They have a static server mesh that they showed off at CitizenCon 2 years ago, I think.
2 years ago,
and they now have it. They now have it live with 2 star systems. So I think this is going to be the status quo for the next year, while they, step 1, fix all the issues, because there's still a lot of stability, a lot of connection issues. And they also have, with all the emphasis on server meshing development and how much had to change in the original concept and the original mechanics of server meshing, a lot of the other supporting services haven't caught up yet. So they're going to have to wait for all of that. The mission refactor, the ATC refactor is not done yet. The economy is going to have to get refactored. They're going to have to wait for all these things to be done. And in the meantime, parallel, they can do performance optimization, because I think the current server mesh might be a little bit oversized. They might be able to put one less server in there. Who knows? I wish I could see the internal analytics on this. And that's how they would eventually arrive to like a stable, static server mesh that would be ready for further development. And then they can start with that dynamic server meshing, which I think the first step would be I don't know if I talked to you about this yet, but essentially everything in Star Citizen is organized into what they call object containers. Stanton is an object container, Pyro is an object container, and object containers can be nested. So inside the Stanton object container is the Microtech object container, inside of which is New Babbage, inside of which is the Commons. Yeah, they talked about it, I talked about it.
Yeah.
So eventually, I think they will want to develop the ability to transfer and run individual object containers, no matter the size, on individual servers. So if you, for example, had all 500 players in New Babbage on a server mesh, you would have 6 servers running New Babbage and no servers running anything else. Everything else would be streamed out and saved. And I think this is going to be the first implementation where they're going to start picking that. I think they're going to start on system level or possibly on station level, and they're going to spin up and spin down servers as they need, for which I think the blocker is how long it takes to spin up a server. So I think they need to figure out how to put that one server in the mesh into like a standby mode where it's not consuming resources but is ready to go in half a second. So there's like no noticeable lag when you transfer to that object container.
So from talking about the current static server meshing, 0 to 10, how satisfied are you with it?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a soft 7.
Okay.
And that's actually a good rating.
Number. Yeah. I'm just really trying to break it down for like in layman terms. Like, yeah, man, how good?
Well, when you think about it, this is it's literally barely a step above proof of concept for server meshing, and they get major props for making this run on live servers successfully. And it, I'm sure you have noticed it has health performance. So they get a soft 7, which I think is a good rating for what they have achieved.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Soft 7 from the Space Coder. There we go.
Soft 7.
We heard it here.
It would be an 8 if they had the supporting services. And I know you said not to look at that in my rating, but it is difficult not to. Like, I am salty that they removed my favorite missions because they haven't converted them.
They will slowly come back. Yeah.
Okay. They will come back.
Now we're not here to just talk about the technical side of things. We are here to talk about Star Citizen. Where do you call home in the verse?
Over the last, I would say 4, 5, 6 patches, I have been alternating between New Babbage and Area 18.
Okay. Because of mining and salvage?
Actually, primarily because of photography. Because on Microtech, there's a lot of good stuff to take photos of.
Yeah.
And the Arcorp
neutral
moons,
lighting.
Yeah, and the Arcorp moons have some very interesting environments to go look at. And obviously, mining, I do a lot of mining in the Halo, and just the shortest route is from Arkel 2 or Arkel 1.
Yeah.
I don't know if I showed you my spreadsheet, but one time, a couple of years back, based on some data I found, I did some math, and I have a calculation of how to get to the Halo from every station to every station.
Oh, there's a website for that too.
I know. I like that.
You like your own spreadsheets. I'm a Lowell boy, but I have to be on Microtech now because I shoot top hanger there. So I still back up, but I love Lowell.
I'm thinking about moving to Orison.
No, that's one place I don't like at all. Like Orison is just like, ugh. I do not know.
I like
Orison.
The visuals of it.
Yeah.
I don't like sort of the placement, if that makes sense. Like it's kind of an odd, like it's just kind of like odd in terms of placement, but way more importantly, because Crusader was the first planet and its moons, you actually get a lot of diversity in terms of environments there.
Yes. Which ship did you come here today in?
I brought the Carrack, obviously.
Traveling in style. That thing's gonna cost you an arm and limb now to operate very soon.
Oh yes. No, I've been flying because CIG have gibbed, and they gave me all the ships that have the Stella Fortuna paints.
Yeah.
So I found out how many ships have Stella Fortuna paints. And I'm like, oh god, I have to scroll so much through my ISO terminal.
Yes.
I love it. CAG, if you're listening, thank you very much. I appreciate that you put me on the list. I will be a good boy, I promise. I will not say anything too bad.
I saw Echo Bits at Aesop Terminal yesterday, right? Like she was streaming. Oh my. They need to fix their Aesop terminal in the way the UI works, because the people who have way too many ships, oh my god. So she just grabs the scroller at the side and just manually moves it and waits for it to refresh. It's insane. Too many ships. Yeah. So Carrick is the one. You will eventually have to start making the gas money once the economy resets. Like, I'm gonna earn some gas money so that I can start taking my big ships out. That's how it's gonna be for you rich guys.
Well, I mean, so the Carrick is actually a galaxy, and I have the refinery module. So that's like most of my fleet. Like all of my big ships are industrial ships.
Yeah.
Like I
Odyssey,
understand how expensive it's gonna be to pay for all of this.
Okay, your favorite ship, man. Just one.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Just one.
I'm gonna say the Zeus right now.
Yes, Zeus CL, the cargo variant, or the bounty one.
No, the exploration one, the ES.
What is so special about that? The cargo variant is the best Zeus.
So here's the thing about the ES. It flies well, and they did a really good job with the crew areas on the ES.
Yeah.
My major complaint with the Connie, the exploration Connie, is that like I would not want to be on this ship with 3 other people for more than 2 days, because they're like stacked on top of it. Like there's nowhere to go on that ship if you like want to be alone. Purely me like putting myself in my character. In a practical way. Like, there's no way I would take this somewhere for more than 2 days. I want
my captain quarters, please. Now, before we jump into the Aurora and do our cold lap on the racetrack, I just want to know this, and this you need to speak from your heart. What Star Citizen made you feel when you experienced it the first time? What was that feeling like?
You know that feeling when you get home after a long photo shoot and you sit in your chair?
Me?
That.
like work, or is it Star Citizen?
Yeah, it's just like that like feeling of, like, yeah, this is where I want to be. This gives me pleasure.
Yeah.
This is where I'm happy.
Star Citizen is home for you. Okay, now before we go into the game and do the Aurora cold lap, for every single episode, my son, Jungplanga, aka Nomad, makes a Star Citizen Lego. So I would love to share that with you guys. A Lego from within Star Citizen.
Hello citizens, this is my Lego build for today. It's an S38 with a Tactic Suppressor 1 and a holographic reflex scope 3 times 3. So I built this in a few days with lots of Lego pieces, and it took me trial and error to show it to my dad, but I think it looks really nice with problems like not really a good handle, but I would say it's good otherwise. And the reason why I made the S38 is because I've had a love for pistols now for stealth missions, and the specific reason I made an S38 is it's because it's the first pistol I got at a bunker mission, and so that's why I've loved it ever since. The technical difficulties about the S38 is mainly the scope, because Lego doesn't want you to bend the Lego too much, so I had to use specific pieces, and it was really hard to make it the right size, so it might be a bit off scale, too large. The trigger, I had to fix it like this, because I couldn't keep it from the top, otherwise it would be too big. The suppressor, because I have to make it out of tires, otherwise it would bend too much or go too low. And then just the sides.
Yeah, I like the scope a lot as well.
Yeah, I had to make the red thing just to make it look
realistic.
Pretty cool.
That's
It's actually sticking from the top. Then I added actual tires to the wheels of the suppressor.
Yeah, I think it looks better now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What you gonna build for the next stream?
Don't know.
Do you want people to tell you what to build? Or you are just gonna build whatever you want?
Maybe.
Okay.
Inspiration.
Yeah, you don't listen to me. I wanted him to build an underground bunker.
Underground bunker is too hard for me right now.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that.
And we're back. What do you guys think of that?
I think your son and I need to have a conversation about gun safety.
You and Chris Roberts and the weapon devs in Star Citizen. Yeah.
Oh yes. Actually, Lance. Because now that I saw some more, I kind of remembered something from the last show. I need to give you an invoice. For catering.
Wow. Okay.
Because your son, he went on my ship and he looted my minibar. Yeah, we have him in security footage. He literally flashes his badge to the security cam and at the entrance.
He's the pure loot goblin, and he never stays still. Everybody knows that now.
I will be mailing you an invoice for the catering because he really like cleaned out that minibar, and you know how expensive those small bottles are.
100%. I'll pay you in cruise. I just gotta show you guys this if anybody's there in the chat, guys. So when that video was playing, apparently Summer is also watching the stream, and he sent me this message. Hold on. I'll just quickly go to the screen. I don't know if you can read the messages. So when that was playing, he sends me this message. How dare you play that video? How dare you play that video?
Do you not know that all the content made in your house is subject to being streamed at some point today? I like the one that I did with you guys, the salvager one.
Oh yeah, that's your son. Oh no, which one? I thought you were talking about the Narsa.
No, the salvager one.
Yes, that's really cool. Yeah, money. Yeah, your gun looked like you
opened the gun safe.
Yeah, you had the proper pistol, and I had something which looked really weird. Okay, then now let's jump into the game and do the lab. Let's change the scene to the lab scene. Oh, there we go. Now you crashed onto
again. Again, it happened once I clicked start.
Okay,
but it's fine. It's not too terrible.
And go. Yeah, it doesn't save the camera, so I have to do that manually. And away we go on our very top secret racetrack. You can see the coder flying away in the distance through the coder crane, actually. And there's a very good reason why it's called the coder crane. And taking a sort of okay left-hander, and now he's gonna pass through the fists of Robert. Those are the fists of Robert. Away he goes, coming to the right-hander, and now he's gonna pass through our sponsored corner. And this episode is sponsored by TBF4 Combat Knife. We will do the spiel very, very soon. That's a beautiful, beautiful line. Well, my sincere hope is that Coder doesn't get lost on our track today and doesn't get crashed on our track today, because the budget is very low and the insurance won't cover it. Oh, look at me. I'm doing the all-in line camera a little bit. Got very close to him there. I'm trying to do the best I can with the camera because I'm not very good at this. Beautiful. This is the location where usually players get lost. Oh, I don't know what kind of maneuver you were trying to do there. Like, all right. Here we go. Yes, straight through. That's one crane done. That's the second arc done. This is another location where people get lost. Very easy to get lost here. And here we come. On the final push. Are you using the boost at all?
A little bit. In the turns specifically.
What is the?
Like I'm going SCM.
What is?
But,
Oh my God, you're going SCM. Okay, and what is the space station above our COP called? Do you know?
Behring point.
Beautiful. Just throwing questions at you while you're trying to focus. And across the finish line. All right,
That one was good.
let's check your lap time then.
Back to menu.
Here we go.
Let's
Our
do it.
first guest. But before we do the lab time, once again, the lab board is sponsored by. I have another sponsor. After having been very successful with kitchen appliances and after having cut so many potatoes and tomatoes and corianders and all kind of vegetables, TBF decided to step up their game and they went from TBF 1 to straight TBF 4. So if you're gonna go into a combat, the knife that you want is a TBF 4 combat knife. It hasn't been tested in the combat yet, but they tell me that it's pretty good. So thank you so much for sponsoring this lab board for this episode. Cut to the chase, get to the point with the TBF4 combat knife.
TBF4. When you're sick of cutting vegetables, so you cut some people.
Thanks for jumping on board with my sponsor. I'm very proud of my sponsors. I'm happy that this is becoming a proper corporate show. Now for your time. Are you leaning in your chair? Are you interested in knowing where you came?
I am at the edge of my seat, and I cannot wait. I am trembling in anticipation on where I have placed on the leaderboard.
Let me see your hand shaking. Prove it. Where do you think you've come?
Gee, Lance, I don't know. I think I did pretty okay. But given all the other names on the board, yeah, dude, I'm feeling confident today. I think I ended up somewhere near the top on this one.
Oof, definitely in the top 5. Definitely in the top 5.
Let's see it.
You did the lap in 2 minutes and 12 seconds plus 0.98. So pretty much 2 minutes and 13 seconds. That's not bad. That's very good. Fantastic. Thanks for doing the lap. Are you happy with that time?
Yeah, no, I think I did better than on the first go, actually. I don't remember what the time was, but I think I did better.
So the first lap that you did, okay, the way this works is I let my guests do 3 laps. Okay, and the fastest lap we keep. The first lap Coder did was in 2 minutes and 26 seconds. The second lap he did was in 2 minutes and 20 seconds. So you shaved off 8 seconds in lap 3 from your lap 2. In total, that's like from 226 to 212, man. That's, once I have 5 guests or something, you might not actually be on...
I may not be at the last, actually.
Yeah, you might not be last. Okay, let's go back to the mainstream. And this is it. Boys and girls, citizens of the verse. This was the first episode of A Star in a Reasonably Priced Aurora MR. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for joining us, Space Coder. I'll have your final thoughts now.
Well, I thank you for having me on the show. Very honored to be the first episode on the new channel with the same show. And I hope we do more stuff together in the future. Because we always have a good time, and it always ends very, very funny.
Whenever we do a photo shoot together, that we always get some crazy shots. That's always there. Beautiful shots we get. The machinimas are just such a hard, time-consuming effort, and now I'm dedicated to top hanger. That takes a lot of my time, but. Yes.
I think the biggest problem, like the biggest blocker for the two of us doing amazing stuff together, is that essentially we have like 4 hours every day together, and that's if one of us doesn't sleep.
Yeah, that's true. And I have a habit of taking naps in the day, so
Yep. You see, guys, I don't sleep, so I outsource all my sleep to Lens, and he does the sleeping for me.
Yeah,
that's how I get so much stuff done.
Man, it's crazy. But machinima making, I know this, and like when we start planning about machinima, we come up with ideas really, really fast. Like the Norsa Tales we just wrote it like that. But very soon, we'll definitely be returning to the Star Citizen from the perspective of Nine Tails, and then I'll bring a lot of our friends back together That shall be fun. In the
I
meantime,
did send you a couple ideas on Ninetales stuff.
yeah, what was that? Pink one, right? The drill.
You are purple. You're light purple. Light purple. Dark purple.
Yeah. That's a very cool idea. Like we will do that.
Copians understand that.
That'll be that'll be funny gag to do. Well, we need more. Okay, and that's it. This is the end of the first episode. We'll come back in a fortnight with another episode of Star in a reasonably priced MR. And with that tele-torpedo, it's time to say goodbye. Stay safe, citizens. 07.